Okay, so I'm going to cast a circle now. In this place, the circles round, we consecrate the sacred ground. With golden light, the space around, all power here contained and bound. From the north, the things that manifest. From the east, the things of mind. From the south, the things that motivate. And west, the souls refined. And yet no place or time there be between the worlds, our words and we. Ancient ones, come and see, the space is sealed, so mote it be. And whenever you hear someone say so mote it be or so be it, always say that afterwards in agreement. So that is one part of the circle, and then there's another part. And I'm going to go into the teaching of this part first. So when you practice casting the circle, you want your psychic pathways to connect with it, and one of them always will. So don't doubt your potential. And if you can see it being cast, that's amazing. If you can feel it being cast, even better. Okay, and if you can do both, then you're growing. And the circle will always change how it affects you. But to me, when I see it and feel it cast, I know that my ancestors have now come into my space. So when we say, in this place, the circle's round, what we're doing is we're now using the power of direction to create a round circle so that our higher self knows that we are now casting a magical circle around us. And we say, I consecrate the sacred ground. That means that we are also now cleansing the ground. It's consecrated, which means it's now holy to us. We use golden light because the golden light connects us to ancestors and higher realm spirits. Gold and violet are the two highest vibration colors there is. And when golden light comes around us, psychically, we know that that is an ancestor bringing us knowledge and power. With golden light, the space around, all power here contained and bound. And the reason why we say contained is because no energy without our energy can rise. So we contain the energy. We are responsible for what we're creating in the magical circle. And we also control it and have faith in it as it's being created. And bound means that it can't go off and do something all weird and wild. Okay? It means that it is contained and bound and connected to our heart and our mind and our spirit. We say, from the earth, all things manifest. So I want to get into that teaching. So all things manifest. That represents the earth element. We use the earth element to call in anything that we want to come into tangible form. So the earth element is tangible. In our magic, we'll use candles to represent the earth. I have some candles burning in the back there. For the earth element, you can use green, brown, or white. Sometimes black is used, but we normally use black for certain spirit work. The symbol of the element earth is the cauldron. So it would be good for you to get some kind of cauldron or old pot. This one has a lid or even a shell, anything that you can burn something into. Some people will even use a frying pan, anything, okay? But the cauldron represents the inside is where the power is. The inside of the cauldron represents the goddess's belly and the power of creation. The really neat thing too about this is that when we burn our herbs or papers in the cauldron, a spiral will start to appear. So I'm going to burn something right now. So these are called swift lights. and I'll show you that. You can usually buy them at metaphysical stores, so any New Age shop, I always carry them. And also any places that sell like hookahs, Egyptian hookahs. So some smoke shops have them, and they're little black things like that. Okay, I'm gonna light one up. So what we do is I use lighters for this. You can see it's starting to sparkle. Show them a sparkle, will ya? Can you hear the sparks? Sounds almost like a piece of wood burning. So we light that up. It starts to spark when it's lit, and then we'll put our herbs on it. Today I'm burning benzoin because I love the smell of it. And those charcoals will burn for about, I would say, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on what you're burning on it. So as this burns, the smoke will start. And I'm just going to wait for the smoke to appear as well. And as the smoke builds, the magic of earth is manifesting. Creation is happening. So once this starts to smoke, we're either going to receive a spiral that's going clockwise or a spiral that's going counterclockwise. So it allows us to know whether the magic that we're doing is creating or vanishing and releasing. So you always want to see how it burns. And sometimes at first it's doing both. Okay, and we'll get that burning and see. Come on, burn, baby, burn. It's probably frozen. Okay, I'll wait until that starts going so I can show you. Now it's starting to smoke up. Okay. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, well, I don't know why my camera's not showing the smoke. How weird. You can see just a little bit there. But it is smoking and going and growing. Sometimes it'll like bomb the place with smoke, so you just never know. Okay, so we use the earth element when it comes to anything that we want to manifest and bring into tangible form. That includes our health and our physical bodies and the healing that we need, as well as our wealth and our finances. So when it comes to the earth elements, we consider four-legged creatures, the totems and signs of the element of earth. We also consider all rocks, trees, soil, anything is also the power of earth. So earth, we say the things that manifest. Whenever we're practicing magic with the power of earth, we're tapping into elementals of that. So earth elementals, those energies include nature spirits that are elves, gnomes, and other elemental spirits. In the earth element, we teach you a lot more about doing magic with earth. Today, we are learning and teaching you how to open up with it. So I hope you were able to get a bowl of dirt. Do you have a bowl of dirt in front of you? Perfect. Okay. So one thing is you will hear us say, actually, I'm going to get you to repeat this with me. So hold on to your bowl of earth with both hands. And you don't have to worry. You are going to receive an audio of this. Okay? And repeat after me, saying your name where I say mine. I, Georgina, daughter of the shining ones, raise this creature of earth to bring forth the stability and strength of our ancestors. North, the earth, the wind, the rain, assist us now upon the earth plane. So when we work with earth, and whenever we call stability or healing or money or anything else that we are calling into our life that we want to be in tangible form, we are working with the earth element, okay? So if you have your bowl of earth, we're just gonna work with that right now. And don't worry if you lost. Erin, you're going to be receiving an audio of this as well. So you don't have to worry about taking notes. In the old days, nobody got an audio of this. It was all hand notes. It took forever. Okay, so you have your bowl of earth. I want you to take that bowl of earth. Take with your right hand, put some earth into your left palm, and you don't need very much. You just want to make sure, if you look at my hand closely, the white area is where you want to put it. I have like the reddest hands in the world. It's embarrassing. It's like, hi. So put some soil in your left hand and close your eyes. And you want to feel the left hand and the soil in it. And because Erin's just hopping on, I'm going to say the chant. And while I say the chant, focus on the soil. You want to focus on a couple of things. First, you want to focus on the surface of your skin. You want to focus on the soil, and if you feel any energy from the soil, and you want to focus on the air between the soil and your hands. So just listen to me while you connect with that. I, Georgina, daughter of the shining ones, raise this creature of earth to bring forth the stability and strength of our ancestors. North, the earth, the wind, the rain, assist us now upon the earth plane. And we thank you. Now, if you're holding it in your left hand, you should be able to feel something from it. Maybe you feel like a fuzziness, or maybe you feel it warming up. And even though you're feeling on what the earth is doing in your hands, you may also be able to sense its moistness. So if you do feel something with your hands, just raise one of your hands so I know. Maybe it's warming up. Maybe it feels like a little heartbeat. So if we feel the soil in our left hand, we're receiving its energy, okay? So whenever we go into a store or we want to buy something, like a stone or a crystal, when we feel with our left hand, we are feeling the natural state of what it is. So our left hand is receiving this medicine. The other thing we can do with our left hand is hold it up in the air and communicate with spirit without even speaking. So if I go into a place and I hold my left hand out, I can connect with spirit and start communicating. I can hear it. So our left portal, the portal in our left hand, is like our spiritual hearing. Okay, so if you felt that, put it back in your bowl, or just put it back in your bowl. And we're going to do the same with the right. So take the soil, put it in your right hand. And focus on it. Focus on the way the soil first feels. And then focus on how the energy changes. The same thing, the top of your hand, focus on the soil, and if you feel any vibration. Is it heating up? Is it cooling? Do you feel a heartbeat? And as you're feeling your right, can you still feel the soil in your left? I can still feel my left hand buzzing just from holding that little sand. So if you can feel the soil reacting in your hand, it is accepting you. So you're giving that soil power and energy. And usually you'll get almost like a heartbeat. That's your life and energy going into the soil. And we can do this with anything we can touch. Absolutely everything has energy to it. So now put this back into your bowl. And I know your hands are going to be a little dirty. That's okay. Because we're going to take this a little further. But before we do, I want you to focus now. Go into Gasho. This is called Gasho. And when we put it in front of our heart. And then put your hands out. So when you did the earth element, and this is called Isis. So whenever you say here, go into Isis pose, we go like that. That just means we're connecting with the air in our goddess pose. So now when we did that exercise, you're going to want to know which hand was stronger. Was it your left hand or was it your right hand? Okay. And this is something that you will want to check often. If you felt the earth element in your left hand, you're in a receiving mode. That means the element of earth is connected to you and wants to bring you and has the energy to bring you the stability and the wealth that you're calling for. That means that you are ready to receive. Okay? The other thing is if you felt that it was in your right hand, and your right hand was more powerful, connecting to the earth element, then you are in a mode of manifestation and directing. So that means that the earth element wants you to connect with what you're trying to focus on and manifest in your life.
Georgina, you just froze up there for a moment. Can you repeat what the right hand means, please?
Yes, thank you. So the right hand means that we are manifesting energy. So our being is taking and directing our manifestations in connection to the earth element. So that means that if I feel stronger in the right, I know I need to do more magic and focus on my health and wealth. So the earth element manifests through us with how we live in life. We are a direct manifestation of what we have created so far. And when it comes to magic, the earth elements don't like to just work with needs. When we work magic with the things that we need, it is something that is connected to the mundane energies, and it is a state of survival. When we work with the earth elements, we want to work with what we desire, the things that would make us excited about our life, the flow of our finances or the growth of our enterprise. So the earth element spirits always want something that is going to surprise you when you get it, because that's how they get excited about things. The other thing is we have earth element spirits in our home. Our home is a manifestation, and it's a generating power, and every time we leave our home, it is in manifestation. So it's super important to implement the earth element into your home through plants, having stones, sticks, even a bowl of dirt or soil into your home. That will keep it strong and calm. The other thing that we do is when we connect with the earth element, we're calling forth our ancestors. And you would have heard to bring forth the stability and strength of our ancestors. And what we do with that is we do connect with the powers and spirits that are directly connected to us and our whole entire DNA line. And so they know where we're headed and what we need. They can read our spirit better than we can. And the things that we are desired to want in our life and the things that we're drawn to want and go for are not even close to what we could manifest. We should be going beyond our ultimate dreams, okay? And that's what we do. We practice our magic to create the life that we want. And we use the cycles of the earth for that. So whenever you want to connect with your finances, do money magic, do earth magic, carry coins. Now, it is something to grow with because money magic and connecting to earth means that you need to be emotionally involved with your finances. You need to learn to love your finances, and you need to learn to love your stability and how you want to physically live your life. And that does not mean being materialistic. Every single person in the circle calls in finances in their life, and the amount is different for each person. Some people are asking for a raise. Some people are asking for settlements. Some people are asking to win the lottery. Nobody is greedy or selfish. Magic is only greedy, selfish when it is to prove someone else wrong. So we are allowed to ask for whatever we want, as long as we know that it's going to benefit our life. And if we can manifest it, it will happen. So that's the other thing, is we go for the ultimate, because whatever it is that we can manifest, we will. When we are in a place of survival and we're having trouble with our finances and they're not growing, then that means that we do need to connect with the element of earth. And connecting with the element of earth can be burning money herbs in your cauldron. It can be going for a walk 20 minutes a day. It can be holding stones in your hand and choosing a different stone each day. But if you involve the element of earth into your life every day, you will see how your natural connection to earth will grow, including your path and of your wealth. Okay, so our health and wealth are divinely linked. So think about, with the earth element, how much you want to live. What do you need? Are you making enough that you're excited about, the next thing to come? Okay. For me, my deal was I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to work when I was 40. Well, I stopped working at 42. Okay. So I was 2 years late on my goal, but I also flipped 22 properties to get there. So the spirit will give you divine ideas, and a lot of times these ideas are not something that are altogether spiritual. We should be working on many different levels, and the manifestation and the connection that we have to our finances and to our stability in life is connected to a type of consciousness. And if we can get to the consciousness where we feel comfortable, where our home feels like, oh, finally, I'm home. I wanted to be home all day. And that we know that our finances are growing and we're connecting to things that are connected to us, whether it's crafts or healing, then our finances will grow. If we are working with ego, okay, and we are trying to do things that are not truly connected to the earth element or the universe, blocks hit, you're going to hit a road. The universe is not here to feed ego. It's here to help you grow and evolve into the purpose of who you really are. So the earth element reminds us to stay authentic in our being, to honor who we are, to honor what we want, and through that we find ourselves. In this world, people do try to make money spiritually, and it's all about the money, or they're not truly connected and they're using other people's ideas. That is going to get them into a wrong thing, because those are connecting to ego and mundane spirit, and it doesn't work. Okay, so whatever you produce and connect with in your life has to be a place of growth for you because you desire it. Okay, now the cool part with us is because we're all connected to this type of magic, we can trust and support each other because we have ability. People who are not truly connected to the universe, they don't have ability, and that's one of the ways we also weed people out. Okay, so now we're going to take this earth element a little further. And I want you to put your hands over your bowl. This is going to be really hard to show you, but put your hands over your bowl like this so that you're kind of covering the top of it and you're peeking into your bowl. And you want to peek into your bowl so that there's just see how there's a little bit of space in mine? And when you're peeking into that bowl, some of your soil should be lighter and some should be darker. And of course, the soil around the edge of your bowl might be darker. But I want you to look into that bowl of soil, and in between your hands and the soil, I want you to focus on that space. And as you focus into that space, just breathe 3 times in direction to the soil. And see how it reacts. And you're not trying to blow the soil around. Now, when you're looking into the bowl, above the soil and into your hands, imagine it as the space in the room. I want you to look for little bits of white or smoke. And it's going to almost look like a mist. And if you can see that, nod your head. It takes a little bit to see it, and you don't have to stare, but you may also see a clear line around your hands, like your own auric fields. But if you look into there, you'll want to see a little bit of light, almost like the white screen on a TV. And if you can't see that, then focus on the soil and try to see some movement. Now we're doing this in the daytime, so it is easier to do this at night. But you want to focus on seeing the energy of spirit. And it's kind of smoky, misty-like. If you can see that, then you are seeing the creature raising in the spirit. So far, and that means you have clairvoyant abilities. This is harder for some, and if you do find it difficult, try it at night. At nighttime, the white really comes up, so I would suggest you to do this at nighttime too. Then you want to keep practicing that to the point where you can start seeing the earth breathing. And in there, you'll see it just going up and down, almost like it starts to breathe with you. So when we say, I, Georgina, daughter of the Shining Ones, raise the creature of earth, that's exactly what we're doing. So you were able to feel the energy in your left and your right hand, and some of you have been able to see the spirit of the soil in there. If you haven't, don't worry, because we're going to be doing more to help you activate the seeing, but I know most of you felt the soil. So when we do magic and the power of earth, we are actually raising a spirit, okay? Now for me, you'd also want to know what the spirit and how it can bring you. What's your avenue for extra money to come your way? Because it can't just be your paycheck, right? So for me, my grandpa was a gambler. And so for me, I'll hear casino bells. Like I'll sit here and all of a sudden it's like I'm hearing the casino. So I know I got to go to Moncton. And I go to Moncton, and every time I go to the casino, I win. And that's, so for me, the universe knows that I can receive more through the casino or through my readings or whatever, right? The universe will bring people to you that's aligned for your work. And that's exciting. So from this point on, while you're walking your path, your natural path is to have more than you ever wanted. And it's also about being connected to the people that are in your and on your path. So for me, anyone that's in my face, they get 100% of me. I believe that destiny is there, whether I'm supposed to learn something or teach something. And it's usually both. We're giving and receiving both, right? So make sure that you plan and direct your full moon powers and your wealth and your health and everything that you want in direction to that earth element and connect with it, okay? And the way that you can feel stones and trees is exactly how I showed you, okay? Let's move on to the air element. So play with your earth. Try doing this exercise again at night. And if you want, try it on a full moon night and you'll really see it breathing. Once you see the earth breathing and once you see the spirit of the earth, that mist moving around, you will be able to see that anywhere. You can actually sit on a bench in a park and feel the same vibrations you felt in your hand, because our hands and our feet work the exact same way. Our left foot feels, our right foot directs. So if we're walking around the earth all bitchy, Mother Earth doesn't like it. Okay, so just know when you are walking the earth, whether you're going to the bank or whatever, everything is always growing and prosperous for you because you don't deserve anything less. Okay, so air elements. So the air element, the symbol of the air is the wand. Whether that wand is a piece of wood or something fancy like that. The air element for candles, we will use yellow, white, or orange. And before I fully move on to air, the other thing I want you to know is that earth element represents our present path. So whenever we're working with the things that we want, that earth element is comprehending what we are in that moment. And that's why it's important for us to be in a heightened state when we are practicing earth magic. So earth magic is our present situation. The air. So the air is the future, okay? The air element represents anything that flies, is the animal and the spirit of air, including the atmosphere. Now, air element is always in existence. It's also something that's invisible, but we can use the atmosphere and the power of air in our magic. Air's element, as I said, is the future, which means that for us to practice magic, we need to know what we want in the future. And whenever the air element is in play in our life, whether it's breathing in our face or blowing in our face, there is magic happening. So as soon as I feel of movement of wind or air, I know there's magic happening. It has to do with my future, and I tap into that. And there's a lot of people that don't, right? But when we know we can tap into it, we can utilize that power. So air represents everything that has to do with where we're headed. And the thing about the air element is it does not allow us to move forward if we are in an illusion state. And that means that we're not aligned to our path. So if we are holding on or feeding something that's not good for our spirit, and we're living a life that isn't aligned to our purpose or our path, we'll stagnate. So in the element of air, we call for wisdom and knowledge. And we're able to tap in and find out, will this happen in our future or not? The power of wind is our clairvoyance. It's our psychic sight. And that psychic sight represents remote viewing. So our guidance is always looking for the next thing we're going for. So it's important for you to know what you want in your future and to have faith in that. Okay? So our future has to do with also learning how to use our clairvoyant and our psychic sight. When the spirit of air and our guidance connects to air, it brings us visions. When we receive visions that have to do with our future, it comes in as an idea. And as soon as that idea registers, we'll see an image of it in the future. And that's clairvoyance. You have to have proof when you're getting things psychically, because our third eye is very physical. But true clairvoyance is being able to see spirit and the future without tapping into your third eye or going into a deep meditative state. And this is something that is also science. I had to do a research project for Stanford University, and it was a psychic test, and they wanted to disprove psychic abilities. So I did this test for them, and I thought it was all going to be about the pathways, but it ended up being about all of the people in their life and all of their lives and all of that. Well, I found out for me, my strongest pathway was remote viewing. And they wrote me a letter saying that I disproved their whole study for that year. So it was pretty awesome to know that that was my strongest ability. And for me, I've always been able to see where things are headed, okay? And that's part of the clairvoyance. But clairvoyance is actually being able to see things now and into the future. Where are they headed? So if you are one that is able to understand where people are going in their life, and you're able to see an apple when it's said, you have connection to your psychic abilities, and it wants to work for you. It wants to co-create with your life. So one way to know if we are not connected to the air element is that we don't really know what we want to do or where we're headed. Or we don't really know what our purpose is. And a lot of people will know in life, have no dream of the future. Like I have a 21-year-old son, and he knows how he wants to feel and everything, but he has no goal to create a career right now. So people that aren't able to see into the future, that's a sign to connect. Get that guidance, work to receive that. And a lot of us are drawn into the future by that dangling carrot. It's like we know there's something coming, but we don't know what it is. Well, when we connect our future with our desires and how we want to feel, so much magic comes into play. And our future is in play every single day. So for us with the air magic, we believe that we have to stay on top of things that are trying to pull us back. And so air magic and connecting to the air represents moving into the future. And how do we know when we move into the future? Have you ever been in that place in life where you feel like it's just flowing super fast and smooth? There's no chaos? Well, when there's no chaos and things are just flowing and comfortable, that's how you know you're connecting to your path. So the air element, when we're disconnected, we won't know what we're meant to do, or we'll have trouble seeing where things are going. And that doesn't mean that we're blocked. But what it does mean is that is a call from the air element to connect. If you don't know if you should do something, stand outside and ask the air, should I do this? And see which direction you get hit. With our magic, we learn how to direct the wind as well. So many people hear about separating the mist and the veil is thin. Well, with the air magic, that's how the mist is created. And you have to be in touch with who you are and what you want to see the power in the air. So the smoke that we also receive is in our burnings, connects to the air and the atmosphere. And we're able to see how our manifests are going through where the air and the smoke flows. So each direction of the wind represents something different. And so does the atmosphere. So the atmosphere and the power of air is being able to keep your energy the way that you want, the atmosphere and the air the way that you want, so that you know that you can receive guidance. So I want you to test that theory. And the reason why the wand is our sacred symbol is because the wand, when we use the wand, we're not just using it to direct energy, but we use the wand to put our desires into it. This baby knows everything I've wanted since my first store, Crystals, Dreams, and Magical Themes in 1998. Okay, so this holds everything I've ever desired. Okay, so the wands represent what we desire and where we're headed into the future with those desires. The other thing is we need to activate your connection to wind and air. So we have a natural wand on us, and that represents these two fingers. Right hand, grab your two fingers. Okay, the pointer and the bird. And if you actually look in the center of your knuckles, you may see two eyes. So if you look at my fingers, other side, Erin, the inside of your hand. So see mine right in here? So these two knuckles actually represent the eyes to where you're headed. And sometimes, even though it looks like, oh, it's my knuckle and my skin's stretched, sometimes you'll see those pupils in that knuckle looking in different directions, and it actually changes. So when you look at it right now, see what direction those eyes are. If your eyes are looking towards the left side of you, that's the future. If they're looking to the right, it's the past. If they're looking straight on, present. Maybe they're looking in both directions. So we use this as our wand when we're not carrying our wand, okay? And as you hold your two fingers up, and a lot of people have seen pictures of Mother Mary and Jesus and other saints, and they always have their blessing fingers up. Well, that's where it comes from. So I want you to connect with the power of air. So put your hands into that portal of your left hand. So I got my two fingers in my left hand, and close your eyes and say this after me. I, Georgina, daughter of the Shining Ones, raise this creature of air to bring forth the wisdom and knowledge of our ancestors. East the sun, the wisdom the sight. Assist us now, the sacred night. And that's it. So this can be used as a wand. So if you're ever talking to anyone, and I'm not really standing up, but if you see them moving their right hand, they're doing something. They're changing the atmosphere. You can use these two fingers as your wand, okay? And in some traditions, pointing is not allowed, especially in tribal traditions. Like if you went to a native powwow and went, oh, he's over there, you would be like shunned. The native people do not let pointing happen. It's a no-no. You can only direct this way. So air represents everything that we want to know in the future. So if there's something, oh, I want to know, what should I call my book? Or is this something I should be focusing on? Or how's my son going to do? We can use the air to find out anything. The only things we would not be able to find out are things that have to do with endings, because you're moving into the future, you're looking into the future. And some things we're not meant to know. Of course, you would know whether you receive your guidance or not. When we ask air for guidance, it comes right away. As soon as it's asked, you just have to be in a place that's got air. So stand outside, ask a question, wait, and the wind will always come and hit you into the direction. Okay? So air is the future and our psychic sight. The more we're connected to our future and the things that we want, the stronger the psychic sight on how to get there. Let's move on to fire. So fire magic. I hope you have candles. I asked you to have 2 candles. Okay, so candles are huge in magic. And when it comes to the candles, we use them all the time. I burn so many candles, it's like crazy. The best candles I find are the emergency candles. Pack of 5 at the dollar store, $1.25. They don't burn for hours. I also use the big taper ones, okay? But candles and fire element is what motivates magic. So it's so important to get into candle burning. We also never throw away our stubs because we use them to make spell candles, seal things, dolls, whatever. So the fire magic, we can use white candles, red candles, or pink candles. And the symbol of the south is a sword, a dagger, an athame, or the candles. Okay. Fire magic represents the present. So earth and fire are both present, and the fire represents our motivation. So before we move on, you have 2 candles, right? Okay, so keep 1 candle down on the table. We're not going to touch it at all. I want you to grab one of the candles and put it in your left hand. So fire magic is the motivation. And as I read this and connect, say it after me, okay? Left hand. I, Georgina, daughter of the shining ones, raise the creature of fire to bring forth the power and passion of our ancestors. South, the fire, the passion, the gift. Assist us now with an energy lift. And feel the candle. And I hope you're holding it with your left hand, because when we're doing magic, whether we're using herbs, candles, oils, and water, it always needs to be charged. And that's connecting to what it feels like in the beginning and what it feels like after you put your intent into it. So right now, you may not feel too much off of the candle, except you may feel the waxy part of it, right? You kind of know what it feels like. Now I want you to put the candle down on the table and put it in your right hand. And feel it, just like we did with the soil. And then just listen for a couple minutes, and I'm going to get you to do one other thing. So the fire element is very dangerous, and it represents our motivation. It also represents our currency of energy. We know we're connected right to the earth or to the fire element by how our energy runs our day. If we have a day and we find that 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we're wiped out, need sugar or a nap, then that is a sign that we need healing and that our fire element is not strong. Fire element gives us the energy to get through our days with heightened energy. The fire is our power. It's also our passion. So when we're disconnected from our passion, that can also let our energy levels drop, okay? The one thing that gets us out of our passion and our connection is distractions. So if we are distracted by anything outside of ourselves, then we're feeding the wrong energy. We're feeding the ego, we're feeding the what ifs and the untamed energy. It is only when we're focusing on the things that we enjoy. And it doesn't have to be any guru stuff. It can be anything from painting stones to going for walks. But as long as we are connected to something that we enjoy, our power and our passion and our purpose comes into play. We find our spiritual gifts and abilities through the fire element and the things that we're passionate about. And the thing with the fire element is the fire element also represents everything we have to get rid of in our life. The distractions that I'm talking about has to do with everything that we're stressed about, everything that we hate, everything that is tied to us. So sacrifice in magic is the biggest form of magic there is. And every day there is something to be sacrificed. I sacrifice something every day. And it isn't cats. Okay? So many witches burn cats. So in our full moon ceremonies, we do have intention papers, and I'll get more into that. But we light intention papers on fire. And so not only do we light these things on full moon, we light them all the time. So if something bothers you, light it up and throw it in your cauldron. So how do you know if you are connected to the fire element? Well, you know what you want. You're excited about the things that you're connected to, and you're not being distracted by other people's energies. The other thing is we're not allowed to self-sacrifice, okay? In magic, our offerings are always give to receive, receive to give, as above, so below. And it is because what we want and desire, we can have. But we're not meant to self-sacrifice our energy. And most of us in the sacred circle have. We've taken on men's roles when our husbands aren't doing it, and childhood, and we're stepping into boundaries where we have done so much enabling in our life. And a lot of us have been in that flight mode as well. And when we are in a place of using our willpower for other things, we get weak. So from on your path now, if you are dealing with things that are a distraction and other people's energies, use the fire element to help you, give you the energy and the guidance to help them so that you aren't over self-sacrificing yourself. Our willpower should be used for what we want, okay? And we deserve whatever we want. We can have whatever we want. If it's existed, we can call that into existence. If it's not, then it takes a little time because we're creating something new, okay? So now that you've held the candle for some time, put it back on the table. And rub your hands together. And you have one candle that's been neglected, that you didn't hold, right? Now, normally when we're together, we would be feeling each other's candles. And that's why we have two. So I want you to pick up only with your left hand. So sit on your right if you have to. I always have to sit on mine. Sometimes I get mixed on right and left still. So grab your left hand, pick up the candle that you did not charge, okay? And feel it up and down, just like I am. Oops. And I'm just feeling it all the way around for a couple minutes. And then put it down. And it felt cold, like the candle, right? Now feel the one you've been holding. And feel it up and down. It feels different, right? And you can say, oh yeah, it's because I warmed it up with my hands. No. If you felt my candle or anyone else's candle in this circle, they would all feel different because you're feeling your essence. So put it down again and grab the other one. And you'll feel how it's cold and empty and just a candle. And then pick up that other one you were charging and feel it again. You'll find that the candle is not getting cooler, is it? So you can put power into candles. We need to charge our candles for it to become. Now we're going to take this further. So did you feel a change in your candles? Nod your head. Nice. Let's light it up. So magic is always better to use matches. However, summertime, no matches light here. I'm so close to it. I'm using a lighter. Lighter is also gas, so we can use them. Now we're going to use the candle that you charged. Light it up. So when you light a candle up, if there is ever any flicker, it is transmuting negative energy to positive energy. And I want you to actually light your candles up again tonight, because we're doing this in the daytime and most of your places are quite bright. But I want you to look at your candle and I want you to try to see an aura around it. And if it is really bright in there, if you go like really close, like right in here, you might be able to see some of the color. But if you see an aura around your candle, there's magic in it. So when I look at yours, I can see your aura really strong in yours. That's awesome. Oh, I can see yours too. Okay. And if you can't see it in person, look at your screen because you might see it better in your screen. So if you see an aura in the candle, look at the Tammy's there is really strong. If you see an aura in the candle, there's magic in it. So if you need help with something because it's pissed you off, light a candle. If there's magic in it, the universe is helping you. And then I always tell the universe, this is what I need to happen. And then I snuff the candle. Never blow your candles out. So whenever we light our candles up in magic, we make sure it's not flickering. If it's flickering, it's doing something, so we wait until it's really strong. Yeah, okay, now I can see your auras. Awesome. When it's strong, it is now in assistance. There's nothing negative around. Now I want you to take it further. In the candle flame, you'll see the wick of the candle, and above the wick, you'll see a little, almost like a purple aura around it. Can you see that? The darker part of the flame. You want to look at that darker part of the flame. Let itself get known to you and try to see a woman. And she will appear in the darker part of the flame and maybe in a little bit of the red part. When you're looking for this woman, you will either see someone wearing a cloak or someone who has really long curly hair. You may see someone that's shorter, or you may see someone that's taller. But whenever you look at this, you will never see her face. And sometimes she'll look like she's turning around to show you, but she won't. This is how we see the maiden, mother, or crone through the candle. If you see the maiden, there is something new that's being created. And usually the maiden shows herself with the long curly hair. And she likes to wear green. sometimes red. The mother is the taller one. The mother is super tall and stable. And when the mother comes around, there you are in the middle of a journey. So if you're lighting a candle for how is my business idea right now, you're at a 50% path. So there's still creation to be taken place, but be ready for manifestation. If you see a short, dark one, and it looks like she's wearing a black cloak, that's the crone. And that means your path in regards to what you've lit a candle around is coming to an end. Now, have you been able to see the lady? If you have, nod your head. Oh my God, now I got chills. That's the biggest test. That's the biggest test. And you all saw it, and I have goosebumps everywhere. So if you are connected to the goddess, you will be able to see her in your candles. And the more you take time to connect with her, the stronger your connection will become. And she is beautiful. And so during certain burnings, when we light candles in magic, there's times where we can see like her other world. You can see like a forest, or sometimes you'll see like a whole scene. That's incredible. There's times this can take like months for people to see. So that means and if you see the aura, then that means you're definitely clairvoyant. Okay? That's wicked. That means your gifts are connected to you now. So pay attention to what you're using and in life as far as energy and what you're focusing on. And if it's anything that you don't want to be dealing with, use the fire element to help you. Give you the guidance and energy to deal with it. And remember, don't over-sacrifice yourself. Okay? If we have chaos and it's like all of a sudden all this chaos hits one thing after the other, then it is a call to connect with the fire element. The fire element is male. So do you nod your head have you ever felt when someone's crossed you, that beast arise in you? Nod your head if you know what I'm talking about, because I'm like beastie. If you felt that, that is your masculine side. And that represents and connects to this fire magic. It is our protection. It is our instincts. And that's why it's the motivator in our life and in our magic. Because if we are motivated by things that are connecting to our instincts, and it's a distraction, then we fall onto that path. But if we're connecting to our instincts to heighten our path or better the people that we love, then it's only going to get stronger. So every full moon, we call the God energy into our life. We do the charge of the God. And what that does is it keeps us protective. It allows that masculine self to keep us safe so that we know we don't have to run in security mode or in flight mode, or we just know we're protected because our instincts will let us know when there's something up. As soon as our instincts are aware of something, that's when we make the choice. Well, do we make this? How do we make this beneficial for me or for you? And we take that energy and claim it. Okay, so the fire element teaches us how to do that. Light this tonight in your home, because you did say that chant. If you've seen that woman in there, any aspect of her, you will always be connected to fire magic. And even if you do plan to teach people about this, there's going to be people that don't have magic in their DNA. They would never be able to see that aura or that woman. Okay, so awesome. Now, here's the other part of it. If you don't have your energy and you're going through your day, that means you should light candles at night. And do that until you can get through a day where you're like, wow, I wasn't tired at all today. So many people ask me, how can you always have so much energy? I light these babies up. So they do feed us that. So candles we never blow out, we always snuff. And with that, lick your fingers and snuff it. And then of course I always take note on where the smoke goes. The other thing you're going to, before we move on to water magic, now I can see again. Every full moon and ceremony we have candles. So this is, I don't know if you can see my candle burner. Okay, so every full moon, I'll have this burn going. This one's black, but normally it's white, but because it was the winter solstice, and you can see all of these things on it, all of those things tell us something, okay? So sometimes, I broke it, whatever drops, I never clean this, okay? So this was huge for us to see during the winter solstice ceremony. So in magic, you get weird things happening to your wax as well. So every full moon, you should have a candle lit, or you can find a candelabra and light all 5. Sometimes all of those candles will be white, other times I'll use all the colors. So by the time the full moon is finished, or even our training with those candles back there, when we're finished our ceremony, one candle has always burnt down more than the others. So every full moon, we read how the candles burn. The first to burn down is the element in play. The second to burn down is what's coming our way. The third that's burnt down, and the fourth, the last ones in play, are the ones that are going to be coming around near the same time next full moon. So we receive divination and future readings with what's going on with the elemental candles. And I will normally post that on the online circle. So you'll see lots of people posting their candles. A lot of them like to say, what do you see in this? And we have fun doing that, okay? So save your wax. I use a coffee tin, put them in there, and then later on you'll be using them for other things. So that is the fire. So make sure that you're always connected to things that you want to focus on. Learn how to control and ask for assistance with things that you don't, and keep your energy levels high, okay? The next thing is the water element. So the water element is the west. And the tool of the water element, besides water, is the chalice. So this is our Coventry one. You can use anything for your sacred water vessel. Beautiful. You can find chalices. You can use a wine glass or a teacup. Some people use their grandma's teacup too. It's so awesome. So the water element represents the past. And it also represents all of the spirits who have lived in the earth realm. And it is the portal of power. So whenever we do mediumship or we're connecting to spirit, we use the west element. So the water element to me is like a god and goddess. To me, water is everywhere. We're like 90% water. And I don't know if you've seen that Japanese doctor, but scientifically, it has been proven that water has its own molecular state. And when it's fed good energy, it looks like snowflake patterns. And if it's ugly energy, it's like just like a blob. I'll post that so you can see it. It's really interesting. So we use water element to manifest and connect with things from the past. And the water element is our empathic ability. So when we walk into a room and we know whether we like it or not, that is that feeling, okay? Or when we're feeling the soul or the energy of others, that represents the West element in play, okay? Water is super important, and water gives us messages. So it's really important to get into the habit of drinking water and using water sacredly. When we connect to the water, we want to connect to intuition, and we want to connect with anything. So if we want to know something about the past, we can connect with the West, and we will receive that. So I don't know if I mentioned the candles are white, blue, teal, or anything that's watery color. Water also cleanses. So when we call the water element into our life and raise the spirit of water, we're asking for healing. So if you do have the water in front of you, I want you to hold your chalice and say this after me. I, Georgina, daughter of the Shining Ones, raise the creature of water to bring forth the love and intuition of our ancestors. West we open, the gates swing wide. We seek the answers that lie inside. Now breathe into your water 3 times. Okay. So whenever we use water in magic, it's always spring or well water or ocean water. It has to be from a living thing. We never use distilled water because distilled water is considered dead. However, we will use distilled water whenever we're making room sprays or anything that we want to last long in some of our recipes. So like I said, the water element represents spirit and spirit of the past. And this is what I want you to do. So now you've got your blessing fingers. Grab your 2 magical blessing fingers and get ready to put them in your bowl of water, okay? So just put them in and then pull them out, okay? And feel the water, kind of watch what I'm doing. See how I'm just kind of feeling the water. And you want to get to know what it feels like in your fingers, your blessing fingers. Now we're going to do this one more time. So you saw the temperature of your water, you've got it on your hands. Now we're going to connect to the spirit of water. Are you ready? I love doing this. So I want you to use your blessing fingers again. When you go inside of the cup, try to feel the warm spot. When you feel the warm spot, it will be when you go in or come out. Is the warm spot near the bottom, in the middle, or on the top? Now nod your head if you felt a warm spot. Okay. I usually feel it more when I come out of the water. Now, once you felt it, feel your fingers. So the warm spot represents the spirit in the water. Do this to your fingers if you felt the warm spot. And as you do this, you're going to find it getting silkier and stickier. Let it dry and see how I'm doing this. And just even go like this and then touch it again. And we're going to put our cup down. And then get both fingers, even though this one's dry. And you'll start to feel this finger getting stickier too. On your other side that wasn't dipped. So if you can feel stickiness in that water, spirit is in it. So one thing, and it gets sticky, that stickiness that you feel in the water, or that warmth or thickness, sometimes it feels almost like a thick water, that represents spirit. And that one little cup of glass will heal and cleanse the entire space. If you leave this water overnight and feel it tomorrow morning, it will be thick. And if you get that stickiness, it represents ectoplasma. And there's been some great occult, occult mediumship people. Robert Bailey is one in the past who was able to manifest things from that stickiness, like coins and raw fish. You can even go like this and just see what I mean. Do you feel it? Can you feel the stickiness? Ectoplasma. So like Slimer on Ghostbusters, that's what he's made out of. Mine is so sticky right now. Oh my God. So leave your water out overnight and then feel it, okay? It only takes 3 hours for the water in the chalice to cleanse the entire room. And then you want to pour that outside as an offering. If you were to put that water in a plant, it would probably die. So this is a good way to cleanse bedrooms or places without smoke. A lot of times if I'm doing a release at someone's house or their children can't sleep and they don't know why, or they're having night terrors, the water chalice is good. I tell them, leave it overnight. I'm going to be there the next day. And as soon as I touch that water, I know what I'm dealing with. The thicker and the stickier the water is, the more spirit it is. And that doesn't mean it's negative. Okay? But that's also one reason why you never want to drink water that's been left out. People can actually get a spirit possession, especially if your water has a whole bunch of bubbles in it. So if you see lots of bubbles in that water, atmosphere got in. So fresh water is fine, but if it's left in a cup overnight, think twice about drinking. If you're a magical person, right? That's just something we would take care of. The other thing that is really important for the water magic is something that you're all going to get. So I will be sending this out by Monday, on Monday. And you'll see in my little jar, you can see that. This is called Angelica root. Okay. Oh, it smells amazing. So we use this root before we do our first full moon. It's our initiation bath. So I'm going to send some to all of you. And this root is super sacred to us. So it's something that you always want to have on hand. But the reason why we use it for before our first full moon and entrance into the circle is because it releases us from anything negative. It's also known to break any curses, whether it's your curse or a curse from your ancestors. Everyone's heard of baptisms and exorcisms. Well, this represents, and that's where this idea came from. The Angelica root is the first exorcism, baptism bath there is. So what we do is we take a little bit, we put it in the tub, and we let it steep like a tea for 10 minutes. You make sure that it's a good, nice, warm bath. You want to dunk yourself in it. But when you step in, if your feet burn so hot, it's like you stepped into a boiling tub of water, you'll need to dump out. And then when you touch the bath, it won't be hot like that at all. If you get the burning feet, you've broken a curse. And then even if you had jumped out because your feet did burn, go back in, it won't burn again, and rinse yourself completely, okay? This is an herb you'll want to do every once in a while, especially if you feel things are getting stagnant in your life or there's negativity around you. We never know who's watching us. There's more people watching us than we know. So it is important to keep yourself clean. So I'll send this out and try it. So whenever you just want that purified feeling or that restart or rejuice, or you're like, this is not working, I'm changing my path, this is the bath to have. And healing baths are super important. The reason why we use these elements in our magic, whether they're herbs or baths, is because we create a frequency just like the magic in our circle. And when we add that frequency to our being, the stronger the frequency we connect with, the more power and energy we're able to attract as far as our magic is concerned. And a lot of times, it's important to make sure that when you're practicing magic, you're clear and you're in a positive state. The more heightened you are, the more heightened your magic will be. So you never want to practice things when you're in a negative state unless you're dealing with the fire and burning it away. So make sure I have your address, message me, and I'll send this out on Monday, and you can give it a try. You can also smoke it. Some people will smoke it to get visions. I tried that a couple of times. It was like smoking a piece of log, and when I was smoking it, other people started getting visions, and it kind of snapped me out because I had to help them with their visions, and so I lost mine, but it's not for me to smoke. Okay, let's go to the spirit. So a lot of times you're gonna see that we will call in spirit. And the way we call in spirit is we'll hold our hands out to our sides so that our palms are facing the inside of the circle, and repeat after me. I, Gerdina, daughter of the Shining Ones, raise the essence of spirit to bring forth communion with the positive forces of the universe. And then usually we'll wait and we'll feel just a little change in the atmosphere to let us know spirit has come, spirit is there. So when we said that, you may have noticed we said, I raise the essence of spirit. In all of the other elements, we raised their spirit, right? We raised the creature. We don't raise the creature of spirit, because we're already raising it with the blend of the earth, air, fire, and water. And because we are seeking communion with the positive forces of the universe, that spirit will come to us in many different ways. So we will only connect to the essence and what is available to us. If you call the spirit, who knows what you're going to get, okay? So we raise the essence of spirit to bring forth communion with the positive forces of the universe. So we only work with positivity, and we only banish things that are negative. And that's one way we can tell our magic is working or not. When we do any type of magic that is negative or feeds our ego, we are not connecting to higher realms of existence. We're connecting to mundane energies. So those who do practice magic, well, in ego, or those who are dark practitioners, they are feeding into that consciousness that creates problems in our life. So as we practice our magic and come into our power, we believe that our magic is conduits of power. We are a conduit of power. Your essence, nobody else has. Your magic, nobody else has. So it's important for you to understand that you are a sacred vessel of what you're manifesting. So we don't focus on things that get on us, because it does. It pulls us down. And as far as all of the negativity in the world, whether we felt it or other people or murderers or whatever, those are that's what's stuck here. Those are the ghosts that are haunting our world. Every time we feel jealousy, we are connecting to a mundane consciousness. It is not who we are. Every time we feel fear, we're dipping into an energy that doesn't actually exist. Something important is in play. So we don't focus or entertain anything negative. And that's one of the reasons why we also don't like religious people into our circle or our magic, because we believe that the devils and the demons have all been created by the mind of the man. And therefore, that's one reason why we don't believe in negativity. If it is negative, we have power over it because it's mental. And when we can connect to the natural elements of nature and to ourselves, we can change anything that is mundane. That's our power. That includes how we're living our life and seeing other people, how we care for our children. We can magically affect their life in positive ways. But as soon as we start feeding into negative things, and those negative things should only be our trials and trails in life, because those things that we're dealing with every day are part of our purpose. It is finding the way to break that and do that. So for us, because we live in the mundane, we're always dealing with bullshit, okay? And one of the ways that we deal with it is by using the full moon energy. So at full moon, those elements that we just did is the full circle. Before I move on, let me just say it quickly. In this place, the circles round, I consecrate the sacred ground. With golden light, the space around, all power here contained and bound. From the earth, the things that manifest. From the air, the things of mind. From the fire, the things that motivate. From water, the souls refined. And yet no place or time there be. Between the worlds, our words and we. Welcome, ancient ones, come and see. Our space is sealed, so mote it be. I, Georgina, daughter of the shining ones, raised the creature of earth to bring forth the stability and strength of our ancestors. North the earth, the wind, the rain, assist us now upon the earth plane. I, Georgina, daughter of the shining ones, raised the creature of air to bring forth the wisdom and knowledge of our ancestors. East the sun, the wisdom, the sight, assist us now in the sacred rite. I, Georgina, daughter of the shining ones, raise the creature of fire to bring forth the power and passion of our ancestors. South the fire, the passion, the gift, assist us now with an energy lift. I, Georgina, daughter of the shining ones, raise the creature of water to bring forth the love and intuition of our ancestors. West we open, the gate swing wide. We seek the answers that lie inside. I, Georgina, daughter of the shining ones, raise the essence of spirit to bring forth communion with the positive forces of the universe. So when we do the full moon ceremony, that's the whole circle cast. After that, sometimes we'll call in angels. It depends on what we're practicing and stuff. Then we'll call in the god and the goddess. And those are done. They're called the charge of the god and the charge of the goddess. And that is something you can Google. There's traditionally one that was written by Doreen. We say that, and traditionally it's the priestesses that are used to channel that. Of course, it is something that you will want to practice too. When we say that, we are tapping into the power of the god and the goddess, and we're asking them to invoke that energy within us so that it can carry us through the next month. Now we are connected to the god and the goddess. Fire is the god in our protection. Our feminine is our subconscious or psychic self and everything that we desire. After we invoke the god and the goddess, we have we will always share what the magic of that month and that full moon is. So we go into a little bit of that. It's different every month. And some months we do make potions. So there's certain drinks for certain things, and that's always announced before. We will read our papers of intention. So one thing that you want is you want to make sure you have a piece of paper. On one side of your paper, you want to write down, this full moon, I release. And you write down everything on it that you want to get rid of. And at first, you may have a lot because you want to include everything that's happened to you from childhood up until now. But eventually, you'll only be at the point where you just need to release what's happened in the last month as you heal and as you evolve on your path. So write down everything, and it's everything you no longer want. Body, mind, and spirit. There should be one of each. Okay? And the same thing with you don't want with your family, okay? Or attitudes that your husband has or whatever, okay? On the other side of the paper, we write down, this full moon I call in. And this is where you want to learn how to call in everything you want. You want to focus on calling things in for 30 days till the next full moon. You also want to focus on calling in things in a year from now, and also how you want to retire. So you can call in whatever you want. And sometimes some things are more difficult to manifest than others, okay? I have a brother that was in a car accident and he lost his ability to walk. He's in a wheelchair. Ever since that's happened, I've called in for his healing. And so some things will take time. Some things may never happen, but I cannot not call that in. It's like, I just can't. So you put down everything you ever want. And remember, there is no selfishness. You have to follow your own moral code and your own ability, okay? If you want wealth because your sister has more, that's not a good enough reason, okay? So write down everything that you want, but make sure that it's for you and you know the growth and what you're going to do with it, okay? When we get to this point in the ceremony, everybody will be burning their papers. Now you can burn your papers if you're doing it online with us, or you can wait and burn your papers by midnight. But we do this every full moon. And you have to understand that every time you write something on your paper, you're not just writing this magic for yourself. You're manifesting this into the world. So you have to know that's why you're not selfish. If you're calling, for a healing over your knee, there's other people in this world that need that. So whatever you're calling into existence, not just in your life, but everyone's life. During that time, some people will give an offering and they'll unmute or they'll say, this full moon I release, and then they'll release something for themselves and everyone in the Coventry. Okay, I do that every time just to show that we're doing that. And then we'll call something in for ourselves and everyone else we want. Okay, so that is your time where you can release. We will then light it on fire and throw it in the cauldron. Some people will light it on fire, throw it in their bonfire pit, but you do want to get rid of it. And you can do that sacrifice anytime you want. If I had it out with someone one day, I come home and I'll write that shit down, I light it on fire and I throw it in the cauldron, because some things you don't want to wait until the full moon to get rid of. So if it is something that you need to get rid of, even if it's an emotion you feel that day, you come home, you had a hard day, and it's like, oh, I'm so drained. I'll write down, I need my work to energize me, and light it on fire and put it in. So use that, because you do have connection to the fire. Everything that gets us is a distraction, and we can call forth assistance. When it comes to magic, the assistance that comes is always easy. Our path isn't meant to be difficult. Yes, we have to deal with difficult things, but we learn from it, okay? So after we read the papers and burn them, there's another thing that we do, and that's the cakes and ale. So every time we have a full moon ceremony, you'll need a drink. And in that ceremony, we'll always say, we bless these drinks so that we all never thirst. And we take a sip. And then we give it to the Earth Mother as an offering afterwards. And the reason why we bring this in is because it assures that no matter what, we will always have something to drink. Even if we are stuck out in the side of the road, someone will show up with something to drink. A nature spirit, someone will appear. We also have our cakes and ale. So we call it cakes, but it can be anything. Now, as far as drinks, it can be water, it can be tea, it can be whiskey, it can be anything but pop. Pop's not allowed. And the same for food. Some people bake things every month for the gods and the goddesses or nature spirits, and other people will have, a cookie or a fruit. So the offering can be anything but pop and candy. Okay. So when we have our food item is next, we'll hold that in the air and we'll say, we bless this food so we all never hunger. And that makes sure that we always have money and food. Even if we're stuck in the middle of nowhere in the forest, something will come with food. And the other reason is because when we're working our magic, we should already be in a place where our security is good. And we're, working magic that's above that. So that ritual allows us to make sure that we have our needs met. When we give it to the god and the goddess and pour it upon the earth or give it to the earth, we say, give to receive, receive to give. And that is because whatever we're meant to receive, we're also meant to give. So balance, give and take in everything in life. Okay. Burning the papers is magical because it allows you to learn how to let go. And that's one of the most powerful things that we can do for magic. Learn to let go. I'm not dealing with that now. I'll wait until I receive the guidance on how to deal with that. Okay. When we're finished, the cakes and the ale, we always say thank you to the spirits. So we'll say, to the powers of the north, east, south, and west, we thank you for your presence. Go if you must, stay if you will, so mote it be. Sometimes the spirits want to stay with us. Sometimes they got to go. They come and go as they please. We allow them to do that. After we have finished all of this stuff, we open the circle, okay? And some people think that's backwards. I used to get questions all the time. Don't you mean you're closing the circle? No, I'm opening it. I'm releasing the circle. We do it counterclockwise once. And when we open our circle, everything that we created is unleashed. We don't think about our magic again. And if a doubt or fear comes in about something we've asked for, we take that as a sign that it's in play and don't fall for it. And when we open the circle and release the energy that is within the circle, we give it to the universal powers. So everything that we've released, called in, and also connected to within our circle connects to universal laws. And these universal laws are in existence of everything, okay? There's a universal law of vibration, the universal law of function. So when we let go, and now we allow it to be released into the universe, we believe in those universal powers to carry out the things that we've worked on, and now we're just open to receive it. And if it doesn't come by the next full moon, we call it again. And that's how we learn about our magic and the power and the thing that we can call. Okay. The other thing is, you will know that sometimes in the circle, people will use magical names. We use magical names as a protection. One thing that we don't do is say, oh, so-and-so is in the sacred circle. We like to know that when you are entering the circle, you're entering the circle confidential. You'll never see photos of me or classes, because you have to understand witchcraft is still very illegal all over the world. And there are witch hunters out there. Okay, and I guarantee you, me, I'm on every list there is out there, because they're aware. They're aware. People are scared of underground societies. Okay, so if someone says, oh, is so-and-so in there? You're going to know by your guidance on what to follow or not. But you want to be protective of your work, okay? If you connect with a Sacred Circle member, have fun. But if you do see one using a magical name, honor that. Even if you know them, we use magical names in certain magic because it keeps us protected and invisible to the mundane world. Sometimes you'll see us wearing cloaks, and that is because we're doing very serious magic, and we don't want people to know who we are in the spirit world. So when we wear cloaks, we are becoming invisible. So cloaks, and I don't know if you've seen Harry Potter and the Cloak of Invisibility, well, they bought that from somewhere, right? So just know there are certain things that are honored. I want you to feel comfortable. We never gossip. We believe gossip is a mundane thing. And if you are part of the circle, you're equal to us. And it's about making some magic, creating the life you want. And don't you ever be ashamed of what you want. A lot of the girls in our class, and men, we have men too, but a lot of the Sacred Circle members do have spiritual businesses and spiritual services. And we like to honor each other in that as well. So if you're looking for an herb, we probably have someone growing it. You know what I mean? So use that. I'm going to be sending out your certificates. And we also have an online group for all of those that want to practice online. Sometimes when we practice full moons, we have people from all over the world join us. We have lots of people in Europe. So that's why it's always 9 o'clock, because BC it's 5 o'clock, and in Ireland it's like 4 hours later. So that works for us too. And in the summertime, or when I say in person or online, you're always welcome to do it here in person. So sometimes we have people that say, you know what, it's my birthday, I want to do it in person. I do have a little shop here too. If you ever look for stuff, let me know. So let us open the circle. So whenever we open the circle, after we open it, you always say, blessed be, or so be it, or so mote it be. We stamp our foot, and it's always the right foot. Stomp your foot. That allows all the magic that we're standing on go. And then we kiss it and seal it with a kiss. Okay? And that's why you see that, because our magic is sealed with love and who we are. Okay? So this is how we open the circle. We start where we were, and we go counterclockwise once. The circle is open, but never unbroken. Merry we meet, merry we part, until we meet again with love in our hearts. So be it. Stomp, seal it with a kiss. So if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. But before we go, I want to pick us a card. I'm so excited. And some of you have already partaken in a full moon. This might make more sense to you now. And when we do practice, some people like to have their mute off, or they like to have their camera off. That is totally fine. Do what you feel. Let's see what we get. Your new magical lock. Keep moving forward. So use these elements. Past trauma, past healing, anyone that has something that they need to heal is West. Future is air. Present situations, financially, and purpose or distractions, earth and fire. Okay? And put some magic into your life. So I'll get this turned into audio. And yeah, I hope you connected with it. Light your candle tonight. Try to do those things that I said. Make sure whenever we do magic, we always have a candle. If you see the aura, you know you're connected into the magic. It's just a good way to know instead of doubting yourself or the energies. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, I'll message you all to get the name you want on your certificate. Have any questions?
Thank you so much, Georgina, today.
You're welcome. I was so
This has been
excited.
amazing.
I was so excited to have you join.
Oh, it's amazing, amazing. And you're doing the fire one tomorrow, correct?
Yes. So when we get into the elementals,
Okay.
some people will take all of the elemental training and then they can be initiated as a witch. We also have other classes like the Wiccan class. They're going to be initiated as a witch. So it depends on what you're into. Some people, they like to be the Sacred Circle member. They don't really want to do anything else. They enjoy the full moons. But as long as it says Sacred Circle members only, you're available to come in. Now, the elemental classes teach you all about it. So when we go into the fire magic, we also get into what spirits to call and all about, I mean, it's a 2-hour course, so it's pretty crazy. You'll learn everything about candle magic.
All right. Sounds exciting.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Georgina.
You're welcome. And I'll get your addresses to send out that Angelica route. Enjoy your day.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.